Welcome back to part 2. Try to get through this quickly. There's also some videos I want to share for the remaining portion of this PowerPoint. I did at the time include YouTube videos. So, of course, a lot of them have been scrubbed in the name of fighting disinformation. But I was able to find a couple, and I did save quite a few, even from back in the day. So let's do this scripted news section. I found it online. Here we go. Uploaded 17 years ago with 13,000 views. And you just see for yourself here.
We've got some news just coming in, actually, that the Salomon Brothers building in New York, right in the heart of Manhattan.
They call World Trade Center 7 the Salomon Brothers building. Go ahead and look it up. It's because most of the tenants were Salomon Barney Brothers. I forget
has
what the
also
organization was.
collapsed. One assumes that the building would have been virtually deserted. Whether this latest collapse is going to...
And in terms of the timestamps, feel free to look it up. Even the people who deny the conspiracy don't deny the facts of this news coming out too early.
Influenced the president, who we heard about a few moments ago, was expected to be heading from Nebraska back to Washington. We don't know. The 47-story Salomon Brothers building, situated very close to the World Trade Center, has also just collapsed.
Speaking of collapse.
Now, more on the latest building collapse in New York. You might have heard a few moments ago I was talking about the Salomon Brothers building collapsing. And indeed it has. Apparently that's only a few hundred yards away from where the World Trade Center towers were. And it seems that this was not a result of a new attack. It was because the building had been weakened during this morning's attacks.
As you can see behind me, the Trade Center appears to be still burning. We see these huge clouds of smoke and ash, and we know that behind that there's an empty piece of what was a very familiar New York skyline, a symbol of the financial prosperity of this city.
And apologies for my daughter.
It's now, some 8 hours since the attacks. Is there any estimate yet available of the number of casualties in the World Trade Center?
When you talk to people they don't even say how many people might have been killed and injured, and I think that feeling, the idea of the devastation, people don't really know what to say or what to think. I think they feel the bubble of their security as being in America has definitely been popped. This city and this country will not be the same, but they don't really know where to turn. That's the very sad thing. I think there's going to be a lot of very, very traumatized people that has hit them very, very hard.
Jane, I think many of us, when we heard the news, perhaps on the radio earlier today, were completely flabbergasted by it and just couldn't comprehend it. I mean, it almost sounded too far-fetched. I was wondering what it's felt like for you being in Manhattan. Well, unfortunately, I think we've lost the line with Jane Stanley.
Yeah, it probably would have been extra awkward if she didn't have that communication cut and then seeing the building fall behind her. See. Stephen Jones researched remains and found physical evidence of thermite residue under the rubble. So this thermite, Stephen Jones was very thorough about this. The molten metal spewing out, I can't find. I mean, it's there. I just wasn't looking hard enough. Really, nobody knows. It does match what the thermite reaction looks like. And very shortly in this video, this tower collapses, and it starts its collapse right where that molten metal is falling. And when I showed this to the people in Austria, the poor guy holding the camera is like screaming as the tower is falling, and I think that kind of creeps out the audience a little bit. But yeah, that's quite a bit of molten metal. It's hard to see the scale. This is not just a handful. I heard some estimates based on the number of iron microspheres found in the dust, which is a byproduct of the thermite reaction, that there would have had to have been 4 tons worth of thermite used. Yeah, there's the yeah, it's pretty bad. So there's no good explanation for that. I've seen people online struggle and grasp at straws to make an explanation that isn't thermite. There's another good video here. I don't know why I don't have it included. But it has to do with let me just show it to you. So you could watch this, and apologies if you can't read the subtitles.
De mensen die geloven in het complot hebben het vaak over gebouw nummer 7. Dat was een wolkenkrabber van 47 verdiepingen naast de Twin Towers. Op 11 september 2001 heeft er brand gewoed, maar er is nooit een vliegtuig in gevlogen. Toch is ook dit gebouw op 11 september ingestort. Deze gebeurtenis heeft nooit veel aandacht gekregen en ook Denny Jowenko heeft er nooit van gehoord. Zijn reactie op de beelden die we laten zien is onbevangen.
Zie je vanaf boven gaan? Nee, je gaat vanaf onder.
Die gaat vanaf onder, ja.
Toch?
Ja.
Ze hebben gewoon kolommen weggeblazen. Er is nagesprongen.
Dit valt anders dan het World Trade Center.
Vind je niet dan?
Ja, je ziet het. De onderste verdiepingen gaan eerst.
Ja, en de rest zakt er gewoon in. Dus dit is controlled demolition.
Zeker weten?
Zeker weten. Er is nagesprongen. Dit is in opdracht gebeurd. Dit heeft een team gedaan van experts.
Maar dit is ook op 11 september gebeurd.
Dezelfde dag?
Dezelfde dag.
Dezelfde dag? Weet je dat zeker?
Ja.
Was het zeker weten de 11e? Dat kan geen waar zijn.
7 uur nadat de World Trade Center naar beneden viel.
Ja? Hebben ze hard gewerkt.
In het officiële onderzoeksrapport van FEMA staat dat ze niet kunnen verklaren waarom gebouw nummer 7 is ingestort. Uitgebreid bespreken we alle mogelijke oorzaken met Denny Jowenko.
Dat weet ik niet precies, maar ze hebben wel...
Maar hij blijft erbij dat het gebouw is opgeblazen.
Het is vakwerk, zonder meer. We weten heel goed wat ze doen, die jongens.
De vraag is dan, is zoiets van tevoren voorbereid of kan dat op 11 september zelf nog zijn besloten en uitgevoerd?
Met hoeveel man heeft u hoeveel tijd nodig om dat te doen?
Dat weet ik niet precies, maar...
Maakt u een inschatting?
Ja, dan moet je wel ervaren mensen hebben, maar als je een man of 30, 40 zou hebben... Kijk, een paar met de snijbrander, de rest brengt hem aan. Andere mensen sluiten dat deadcord met die boosters aan. Dat moet allemaal precies op hetzelfde moment gaan. En weer een derde die zet de elektronische systemen erop.
Terwijl overal brand was en ook in dat gebouw was brand.
Het is niet geblust.
Ze hebben de brand niet geblust. Dus de mensen die dat moesten doen, die moesten het doen terwijl het binnen nog brandde.
Ja, dat is vreemd. Dat is vreemd. Dat vind ik ook heel vreemd. Daar heb ik geen verklaring voor.
Yeah, he can't. So, and then let's do some, this is just more on terrorism itself. Plans to invade Afghanistan and Iraq were already written and approved a few weeks before 9/11. I don't know about the weeks, but they were written and approved before. Yeah, and then this is just more political here. Elimination of habeas corpus. There's some pretty dire things here. Okay, and then I included this fucking guy. This is back when I was into this, I extrapolated to the New World Order conspiracy. I definitely don't subscribe to what is typically referred to as that anymore. And then I even included this North American Union, Amero, and ID. In these conspiracies actually overlap with quite a few others. David Icke level stuff. New World Order, global enslavement. This is Alex Jones type gobbledygook. This is what happens when a 20-year-old is trying to figure out the plot of Game of Thrones, except it's written in Chinese and it went through a paper shredder. I have all the names, I have the dates, I don't know what the frick's going on. So, Aaron Russo's documentary, there was a quote there. There's another really important video, though, that needs to be watched. And these are firefighters backing away from World Trade Center 7.
Keep your eye on that building. It'll be coming down.
The building is about to blow up. Move it back.
All right, guys. Sorry.
We are walking back. There's a building about to blow up. On flame. Debris coming down.
Just in the last few seconds, another building number 7, one of the buildings in support of the World Trade Center towers, has collapsed. This is no small building, as you can see, at 47 stories. It would stand out in most American cities.
Yeah, and of course, none of the other buildings around it. But, I mean, they said the words blow up. They didn't even say collapse. Firefighters were notified to move back. That's a whole other rabbit hole. I actually need to get more information on that foreknowledge. But yeah, essentially, as far as 2007 goes, this is about where it ended. We had the final cut of Loose Change, which got rid of a lot of the pseudoscience that was in Loose Change 2nd edition. And we got Blueprint for Truth, which by technical analysis of the video and evidence of molten metal, there was proof that they were demolished, but there wasn't any forensic evidence other than the molten iron, or the iron microspheres, which are evidence of molten iron, which aren't in any other dust except the World Trade Center dust, which is actually how they were able to distinguish what was World Trade Center dust from not World Trade Center dust. But there, in 2009, when we get to that year, there was a paper published that found unignited nanothermite chips. And people tried to argue that, they're just paint chips. No, but they're explosive. The paper hasn't been debunked, but it also hasn't been replicated. It's sort of living in this limbo. NIST won't touch it with a 10-foot pole. They were essentially saying that there was no corroborating evidence to suggest that explosives were used. But then a year later, when they were pressed, they finally admit that they did not test for the presence of explosive residue, which actually is a violation of protocol for any destruction of a building. At the time, especially during the attack, people didn't know if there was explosives here, explosives there, airplane crashing here, airplane crashing there. It's the whole job of these investigators to go through the checklist of things to check, and they failed to do that. Here's a picture here of liquid metal, molten metal, as it's being harvested out of the debris pile. In the nanothermite, it was looked at with the electron microscope or some sort of high magnification, and there's like intentional structure built in. The science is beyond me on that. I just know that it's a real technology, and there is a patent for it. And the reason it was invented was to demolish buildings without having the high decimal sounds. So I think that's a good wrap up for 2007. 2008 is when the official report on the collapse of Building 7 came out, where they didn't release the model either. And so there is definitely more to come, but I'm going to wrap it up for now on that slide. Thank you for listening.